Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the S-Hero Dark Hero, aka Batman based off his appearance in the new Batman Adventures TV series. Now I got mine as a review sample, organised by 1/6 Kit. I've popped a link to Kit's website in the description for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video. This is a review. All opinions are 100% my own. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new S-Hero figure review goes live on the channel. Before we get started, I've got a question for y'all watching. Do you prefer the new Batman Adventures design for the Dark Knight, or are you partial to the animated series look? I like both, but if I had to choose, I'm going Batman the Animated Series. As for the box art, up top, Dark Hero, down below Dark Hero again, an S-Hero logo, as well as a silhouetted image of, I think, the actual figure himself. On the side of the box, Dark Hero and S-Hero. Around the back, nothing. You already saw that. It's a plain white box back there. This right here is my childhood. I've been waiting ever since then for a figure like this. We've had various attempts over the years, some successful, others not so much. Most recently, Mondo gave Batman the Animated Series a go, but not the new Batman Adventures. First in-hand impressions for him? So far so good. I'm liking the proportions and the fabric outfit. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. I'm a fan of consistency. I think we all are. We want our figure bases for releases in the same line from the same company to match. Yeah, it just makes sense to me. Unfortunately, right now at least, their Superman came with a circular footprint centerpiece style base, whereas Batman gets the Age of Ultron style base mold. This is a copy of a Hot Toys base. They're planning on fixing this though. Now I understand some of y'all don't like to purchase upgrade sets for figures you already own. You just want everything to come with them right out of the box. But I'm a fan of continuous improvement. If a company wants to go back and tweak things, adding split-cut boots, refining the outfit, making the head sculpts more accurate, giving their figures new bases, why not? It's up to you to decide if you want to purchase that set or not. Now this is the same style of base that we're going to be getting in that 2.0 Superman upgrade set. So for now they don't match, but when that comes out, Batman and Superman's bases will be the same shape and size. As for the artwork, Gotham City, just some rooftops. Around the front, Batman on an actual etched metal nameplate. Then up top, an adjustable crotch grabber. Make sure the stoppers at the front aren't making contact with his spandex outfit, because there's a little raw edge on the bottom, and if you're not careful, they will tear the shit out of that spandex. We'll be going into way more detail on these cowled head sculpts and the interchangeable mouth plates a little bit later. Right off the bat, yes, pun intended, loving the shading for the skin tone, the glossy eyes, and the glossy teeth. But the biggest takeaway for me is all of the mouth plates are compatible with all of the cowled sculpts. You can mix and match and pretty much create your perfect ideal expression for Batsy. Oh, and we also get an unmasked Bruce Wayne head sculpt. It looks very new Batman Adventures accurate. Once again, we'll discuss this once we put it on the body. To go along with that sculpt, they give you this fabric cowl that looks slightly goofy. We'll see how it works on him. Maybe I'll like it more once it's installed. For me, these read more Batman the Animated Series versus new Batman Adventures. I don't think he wore these in that show, but I could totally be wrong on that. The goggles have this PVC strap around the back. Be careful with it. This is ABS plastic, the head sculpts are painted with a matte finish, Sliding these over the top of his eyes on any of the cowl sculpts could cause some scratching or damage. Just go slow while you're installing this. For the rebreather, easy as. It attaches with the same connection method as the mouth plates, meaning it'll pop right in there, and it's compatible with all three of the cowled sculpts. Can you let me know down in the comments, do you like receiving Batman the Animated Series stuff with a new Batman Adventures figure? I don't mind it. I'm never going to use these bits with him because this grappling hook is very Animated Series specific, whereas that one is the one he's supposed to be using. Nevertheless, the reason why we're getting so much Animated Series stuff is because they prototyped both versions of him at the same time, they used the same bodies between them, and they just thought, you know what, let's just chuck everything in the box with both versions. You can remove this front panel, it's held in place very securely. There's even a folded up sculpted grappling hook on the surface. Then you can plug in this grappling line, which is made of real die-cast metal for the rods, so it is never going to droop down over time. My favorite detail on this is the big red button right on the top. That's what would activate it. When Batman pushes it, the line would eject. So this is the last Animated Series accessory. All the rest of it is new Batman Adventures specific. It's quite curved around the front, very prickly, loving the sculpt work for the fins, but is it sculpt work? Because this is real die-cast metal. All of the Batarangs, in fact, are made of die-cast. We get 3 of these, the new Batman Adventures specific Batarangs. They're made of proper die-cast metal, they're quite hefty and sturdy feeling. They're slightly thicker than I was expecting though. Not a bad thing necessarily, just something to be aware of. Wedging them into his gripping hands might be a little bit of a challenge. They really simplified the design of the grappling gun for the new Batman Adventures. This is much more like Art Deco inspired with the curves and the rounded chonky edges, whereas the TNBA one is a hell of a lot sleeker. You can't remove the front and install the grappling line, unfortunately. However, it is made of die cast, so I think that makes up for it. It's not really an accessory, it's more so an interchangeable part of his outfit. We get a second cape. The reason for this, it's not wired, is hard to explain. You'll just have to see it when we get Batman himself out here. Oh, this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. Not mine, though. I love this. The seamless wrists, the pre-posed hands, how skinny they are at those wrists. But people want maximum range of motion, especially for a character like Batman, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 2.0 Dark Knight, and he comes with a split-cut design for the hands and the gauntlets. They're made of this softer PVC plastic, which means the fins are never going to snap on you, and we get a decent array of gestures, ranging from a thumbs-up hand for the left and a gripping hand for the right. A gripping hand for the left, the hand angled forward with the fingers curled in, that's meant to be used with the Batarangs. The position of everything is a dead giveaway. Another gripping hand for the right, this time it's supposed to be used with the grappling guns, I believe. A karate chop hand for the right and a splayed out finger hand for the left, then 2 closed fists already installed on him right out of the box. What we're going to do now is get Batman himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. This was a brave move. It's a monumental undertaking for a third-party company who's not that well established. They've got a couple of figures under their belt, but not that many. To set out making animated series figures with their exaggerated proportions and their stylized head sculpts, meaning all new tooling and a brand new body from scratch. I don't envy their position because the characters that they're making are universally loved from an IP that's universally loved. If they failed, it would have been a spectacular fail. So, did they do it? Did they pull it off? I think so. He's not perfect, there are a couple of flaws, but nothing figure-breaking. Their soups was incredible, and they're improving him with a 2.0 upgrade set. This Batman, out of the box, might just be better than the Man of Steel. I could be biased because I prefer Batman over Superman, but even then, putting my reviewer hat on, You get more accessories with this, and arguably more presence as well. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Batman's first cowled head sculpt. We've got 3 to try, and 4 mouth plates to pop into each of them. Not counting the rebreather and the goggles look, then we've got the unmasked head sculpt. There's a hell of a lot of stuff to go through with this. Let's discuss the shape and size of the cowl first. I like it. For Batman the Animated Series, it's not really New Batman Adventures accurate. It's more rounded off, slightly smoother looking, and in TNBA, they refined the art style, they simplified everything, much sharper, harder edges. Batman looked way more chiseled than this. I wouldn't be surprised if, in the future, they end up giving us a 2.0 upgrade set, just like they did for Supes. Because all they would need to do really is give us some new head sculpts, and that would solve the problem pretty much immediately. But then again, there was a lot of pushback when they changed the character designs, the character models for this new series. So who's to say a blended art style with animated series head sculpts on a new Batman Adventures body isn't exactly what you were after? If that's you, well, you're in for a treat with this. The smiling mouth plate is slightly goofy, but in the right pose, I could see it working. Ooh, this is my favorite of the bunch so far, the neutral eye position sculpt with the teeth gritted mouth plate on it. The line straight through the middle of the teeth, it's very animated looking, the teeth are quite glossy, and there's some red shading on the high spots for skin tone. They didn't go crazy with speckling or anything. I'm glad they didn't, because if they'd have done that, he would have looked too realistic but then too cartoony at the same time. Hey, that's not bad, but with the neutral eyes, he looks like he's talking more than screaming. I think this mouth plate is going to come into its own once we use it with one of the more exaggerated eye expression cowls. Oh, dude, that's sick. The rebreather, the goggles, not a TNBA thing. I still don't think it is. I could be wrong, like I said earlier. I am tempted to display my Batman the Animated Series figure like this, as though he's using the misting spray to try and find lasers or something. The goggles went on way easier than I was expecting they would. There's no real friction involved, they sit over the top of the mask, easy as. Then installing the mask, make sure you're not putting too much pressure on his nose because it does have to sit inside this crevice around the front. I would suggest doing the nose first, then you can push the rebreather in place and lock it in there. Let's do Sad Batman now. We'll move a little bit quicker because otherwise we'll literally be here all day. The sad eyes combined with the neutral mouth plate, yeah, this works. Even this somehow does. It's super goofy. I don't think I'd ever rock him like this. But just knowing it's compatible and now having seen it, yeah, it's an option. We're slowly getting more and more displayable. This would work in a pose where Joker is holding Robin hostage. He's about to shoot him, perhaps. And then, post-Robin shooting, this is what he looks like. This mouth plate is way more versatile than I was expecting it was going to be. With the neutral eyes, it looked like he was mid-sentence. With this one, it comes across as though he's crying out in pain. I'm just going to come out and say it, this is the best cowled head sculpt of the bunch. His eyes are significantly smaller, they're way sharper and angrier looking. It reads more New Batman Adventures versus the one that came installed on him right out of the box. I even like the smiling mouth plate better on this. I'm tempted. Thumbs up pose, this head sculpt, maybe. Oh hell yes, angry eyes, teeth gritted mouth plate. So far, this is the best combo that I've seen. See what I mean about how versatile this mouth plate is? With the angry eyes, he looks like he's properly screaming. Mid-fight, mid-battle, this is the combo that you're probably going to want to use. I'm getting sick of doing snap transitions, just a couple more, I promise. Whoa, this head sculpt is perfect New Batman Adventures Bruce Wayne. The angry expression with the furrowed brow, the little bit of hair around the front. I'm tempted to pick up another one of these just to get the body so I can kit bash myself a suited Bruce Wayne from the series. It might not be easy because of the weird proportions. I will give it a go. You can have him wearing this cowl on top of his head. Please don't display him like this. It looks goofy as. This is meant to sit down his back to look like he's just removed it. Or, if you're not partial to it, just take it off entirely. Yeah, it's actually even better like this because the cowl gets very bunchy underneath his chin and it disguises his neck in this mess of black fabric. Maybe have him holding it rather than displaying it around his neck. It's entirely up to you though. If you prefer that look, go for it. Okay, we're done. We tried everything. Every head sculpt and mouth plate combination, the unmasked one, the rebreather, the goggles. Now we can talk about the cape. This is what he comes wearing right out of the box. It's a thin, lightweight fabric. It's scalloped down the bottom. It's got a textured weave to it. But you might be wondering how on earth it's sitting over his shoulders like this. Well, they've tried something new. Just like the seamless wrists, they've experimented. We've got this sculpted plastic piece underneath the fabric for the cape. You can't see it from the front or the outside. It's only visible once you take the cape off him. Does it get in the way of aesthetics? No, it actually helps aesthetics. But it will hinder range of motion. We'll try out bringing his arms forward in the articulation segment. But don't forget, they've also given you a swap out cape in case this sculpted plastic one just isn't your vibe. There's no harm in using this cape, but you do lose that really animation accurate look with the cape sitting over the top of his shoulders. I'm going to go with this one, but you know, if you want to have him completely disguised and hidden by the cape as though he's lurking in the shadows, this is the one you want to do that with. Let's talk about his proportions, but before we do that, I want to pop that initial cape back on him. Whew, the fingers are getting a workout today with those snap transitions. For those who hate them, I am so sorry. Proportions, I think that's what we were about to discuss. The shoulders, huge. The biceps, quite large. This massive barrel chest with the sculpted geometric pec detail poking through. Some musculature for the ab section, but nowhere else. The only other definition that you can see is the elbow joint detail poking through, and his kneecaps at the bottom. That's the smooth, clean, animated aesthetic that I was expecting from them. The fabric is this lightweight textured spandex. It's extremely stretchy, and because it is just straight spandex, no shading or screen printing, you can go crazy with the posing, and you can leave him in a dynamic pose. Nothing is going to get damaged. The chest symbol is a rubbery overlay, it sits way above the ab crunch, so even that isn't going to get any pressure put on it. The belt is free floating and adjustable, you can move it round. I prefer to have it sitting slightly higher up, exposing more of his trunks, because that way his waist doesn't look overly skinny. It's meant to be skinny, but not too much, if you know what I mean. Ah yes, the seamless wrists. Getting these hands off is a right pain. Grab yourself a hairdryer, or even pop these in hot water, then you'll be able to take them off, and then do the same with the replacement ones. Heat them up first, reinstall them after that. It'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. They look slightly long, no? Actual human anatomy says that the bottom of the crotch is meant to line up with the wrists. If his hands weren't angled in the way they are, they'd be sitting down right around here, and that's too long. But that's not to say you can't do anything about it. If you want to Dremel out the inside of the wrist peg, only if this bothers you, doesn't bother me, then you can move the hands, the whole gauntlets up a little bit higher. I'm not going to do it because in a dynamic pose, you're never going to notice it. His trunks are just stretchy black spandex, but they've not just use spandex for the pants. There's also some padding underneath them so you don't see any visible ugliness for articulation. That's why you're getting more of this mottled texture coming through versus up here for the upper torso, it's a hell of a lot smoother. Coming down to the boots, no split cut design. They fixed it for Supes with the 2.0. I already said it earlier, but one more time. If they give us a Batman 2.0 upgrade set with new boots and new head sculpts, I would be all in on that. There's no sculpted tread on the underside, by the way. For a quick side-by-side comparison, I can't believe I've got these figures in 1/6 scale. But it took y'all long enough. I don't know why companies weren't jumping on these licenses. Is Batman slightly too tall? Yeah, probably. Is that the 1.0 Supes with the wrong coloured boots and the white for his eyes, which really shouldn't be there unless it's Supes from Static Shock? Absolutely. But seeing them right next to each other makes me so freaking happy. If you've got Supes in a flying pose with his angled boots on, you're never really going to notice the height difference. Interesting, Mondo's Batman is shorter than S-Hero's is. A lot of you all are going to prefer that because now he'll scale better next to Supes, but he's got exposed joints. I can't get around that. In 1/6 scale, they should be covering these Mondo Batman animated series figures in fabric outfits. It's going to be spandex anyway. It's going to be so thin, it would never get in the way of range of motion. Maybe there's room for a Build-A-Figure episode on Mondo Batman. We'll just have to wait and see. For now, do I have a preference between them? I love the proportions for Mondo's Batman with the shorter, more in-scale arms, and the animated series look versus New Batman Adventures. Still, with all of that being said, I'm going with S-Hero. I'm hoping that S-Hero continue this line, not just with Wonder Woman, but with Joker and Harley Quinn and the rest of Batman's rogues gallery. We need the Bat family too. Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Tim Drake as Robin. Go for it. Next to SSR's Joker, the scaling looks off to me. Either Batman is too big, probably the case, or Joker is too small. It's not a huge issue though, because this isn't the right Joker anyway. I'll be working on the review for him soon. He literally just arrived 5 minutes ago. This is the S-Hero animated series Batman. He's got the same proportions because it's the same body underneath the outfit, the same gauntlets, the same boots, the same head sculpts, but the outfit is significantly different. I've got a preference. I've made that clear throughout the course of the video. There's no denying that that figure on the right with the blue lining for the cape and the big yellow backed oval bat symbol is the more iconic of the two, at least for me. Going over articulation, when we get to his arms, I'll switch out the sculpted contoured cape for the full fabric one, just so we can see what range of motion is like unrestricted. Starting off with his head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck and a hinge swivel ball joint mechanism. It's interesting, I've never seen anything quite like it. Looking forward to there, up to there, way more than forward and more than I was expecting. Swivel, and tons of pivot side to side. With this cape on first, his arms go up to there, the sculpted piece moves up along with the arms. Forward and back, quite squeaky. There's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Let's swap this cape out. There we are, his arms will now go up completely unhindered because of this fabric drape cape. Going forward and back, still exceptionally creaky. Then the same range of motion pretty much for the butterfly joint. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90. Then for the wrist peg, you'd think you'd get nothing because it's a fixed sculpted piece, but it's quite gappy at the bottom, so we don't only get swivel, we also get some hinge out of it. His torso crunches forward to there, going back further to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, pretty much unhindered, full fabric outfit after all. Going out to there, very squeaky, swivel at the upper thigh. Single bend, I think, at the knee, getting you to almost 90. Then for the boots, it's a single piece sculpt, it's really tight around his ankles. So we only get swivel, unlike what we saw with the wrist pegs. There was more of a gap, we got more play out of that joint. Wrapping up on S-Hero Dark Hero, aka Batman, based off his appearance in the new Batman Adventures. I've got a preference for B-Taz, you know that about me. Even then, this is a must-have. How often do we get animated, inspired characters in 1/6 scale? More frequently nowadays, but historically, not that often. And not at this quality level. He's so clean. The spandex outfit that perfectly hugs the sculpted, chiseled body underneath it, the sculpted cape insert so that the cape drapes naturally, the multiple interchangeable mouth plates that you can switch between the cowls, the die-cast batarangs. There is so much to love here. There are cons though. The arms are a bit too long, in all seriousness they are, and he's taller than Soups. I don't care about the Soups thing, but the arms I might have to try and fix myself because the more I look at him, it's the only thing that is throwing this piece off for me. Everything else sort of makes this guy an insta-buy for me. If you've got animated series Batman on pre-order and you're thinking about this, you're hovering over that buy button, I'd say do it. Look, it's no secret, I'm a 90s kid. I grew up watching the shit out of both of the Batman series. So I was all in on both figures from the get-go as soon as they were announced. Do I regret making space for this in my collection? Absolutely not. Now, I got mine as a review sample, organised by 1/6 Kit. I popped a link to Kit's website in the description for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video, it's a review. All opinions have been 100% my own. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.